Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free right thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech. This quote, this belief, this idea, was written hundreds of years ago by our founding fathers. No, they did not come up with this concept, but they were one of the first to ever apply it to legal and governmental use. And no, I'm not here to give you a history lesson, but rather I'm here to talk about why free will and free thought isn't quite what it seems to be. And why even after hundreds of years of this core belief of freedom of thought and of religion being the basis for the land of the free, it sadly seems to be at risk of disappearing. Hello, my name is Samuel Levitan, and I'd like to do a quick experiment with you. Raise your hand if growing up you're told to say please and thank you, to be polite. Raise your hand if you're told to say bless you after someone sneezed. Most, if not all of your hands should be up. And if they're not, maybe we should have a talk afterwards. I'm just kidding about the talk, but if you think about it, we're all told some version of the same thing. Be nice, be kind, be polite, and be respectful to your peers and elders. These are common rules we've been taught since a young age to make us better people, and hopefully, for the most part, we follow them. We follow them because these are rules that our parents have told us and their parents before them have told them. There's a word for this process. This process is called indoctrination. This is the process of teaching someone your own beliefs over and over again so that it is ingrained in them as their personality and cognition. Some forms and degrees of indoctrination are beneficial and necessary even to ensure order and stability in a functioning society, such as saying please and thank you. But on the other side of the spectrum, some forms and degrees of indoctrination have had catastrophic consequences, such as the Hitler Youth Program in Nazi Germany. I'll talk about that more later, but first, let's get into the science of indoctrination. You see, harmless instances like being conditioned about manners is a prime example of the human mind being molded. For example, when you quickly say thanks when someone holds a door open for you, and without you really even noticing you said it. This is because the human mind is incredibly malleable, not just because it's made of squishy gray matter, but because the human brain grows through a process neurologists call neuroplasticity. This scary word simply means that the human mind is capable of being changed and trained to form new beliefs and habits rather quickly. Scientifically, neuroplasticity is a change in neural connections and synapses that occurs due to factors such as behavior and environment. During such changes, the brain engages in what is called synaptic pruning. This is deleting the neural connections that are no longer useful or necessary and strengthening the ones that are. It's like when you have a way that you drive to work each morning, and then Google Maps or Waze shows you a better, quicker route that you like more, so you start driving that way and get used to it. Another term for this is your brain rewiring. If you think about it, your neurons are like wires that send messages back and forth to each other. Your brain is able to change them to make your life easier or better. Like a switchboard operator, your brain is able to change the way that your neurons fire, and in that, how they live and work. And yes, there are some ways that your brain can change itself under your control, but there are plenty of ways that your brain changes without you even acknowledging that's happening at all. This is where the concepts of free will and free thought are confused and at risk. Parents, grandparents, older siblings, and adults in this audience, you're the voice inside the ear of the younger generation. You are the one who children whose brains are most susceptible to being molded look up to and learn from. Look back at what I was saying before about the Hitler Youth Program in Nazi Germany. Why do you think it was so easy for Nazis and evil people to get children to support and carry out these despicable acts? Because these children were indoctrinated since birth. Their brains were sculpted and molded by the evil people that helped raise them. These children were not born hating, no child is. Rather, they were brainwashed. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, of course I'd never indoctrinate my child to be a Nazi. And yes, I really hope not. But if you think about it, all of you have been indoctrinating children's minds for a very long time. Many parents pass down their religious beliefs to their children, and for the most part, they sway their child's political beliefs. What's similar about these two phrases, you may ask? The word belief. Your political and religious beliefs are something that should be chosen by yourself and only yourself. They should be chosen through research, passion, and understanding, and not because you were indoctrinated to believe them. Passing down the same beliefs through each generation will create a stagnant, boring world where no new beliefs would be changed or occur. But no, kids, I'm not telling you to rebel against your parents, and no, parents, I'm not telling you to throw your child into the world unsupervised and alone. Indoctrinating your children to have similar beliefs as yourself is a common parenting practice that even my parents took part in. I'm just advocating that you allow your children to think a little more freely and avoid indoctrinating them as much as possible. Let your children think with guidelines and not restraints. In a time where everyone, politicians, media outlets, companies, parents, and other adults are trying hard to indoctrinate you and your children, it's more important now than ever to think freely and become your own person. In a time where everyone has access to the internet, giving everyone a voice, it is more important now than ever to use your brain, your and your children, use your brain, formulate your own beliefs, get all the facts before making a decision, and then formulate your own beliefs. And you must never underestimate the power of your own gut and self-intuition before making a decision. That's why it's so important to read, to travel, and to leave your comfort zone, to speak to people with different beliefs than yourself, so you can experience new experiences and beliefs, and get a better understanding of the world around you. You must learn to take in all the information that this huge world is providing and sort it out and make conclusions for yourself, and then formulate your own beliefs. In a time where everyone is trying to indoctrinate you, it's more important now than ever to become your own person and allow others to become theirs. In Ray Bradbury's book, Fahrenheit 451, the government controls what people are taught and how they think. They burn books and fill the citizens' minds with information that the government only wants them to know. Now, don't get your tinfoil hats ready just yet, but be wary of the politicians, media, companies, and so on, trying to indoctrinate you and your children. And they're fighting for control of your brain. Now, they don't have alien mind control technology or superpowers, but they have neuroplasticity on their side. They know how to use propaganda to rewire your brain so that you and your children support and buy from them. As I said before, parents, adults, and older siblings, and anybody in this audience, you must teach the younger generation with guidelines and not restraints. You must teach them how to make the right choices and not indoctrinate them to make the choices that you want to be seen. That is not to say that your choices are wrong, but that they were already made. You must teach the younger generation to think freely and to become original thinkers, not just to follow in their parents' beliefs. You must teach them to be original thinkers and to think freely while still being respectful. So instead of handing your child a book, bring them to a library and let them explore. And instead of planning your next vacation to a beach or a cruise, plan it to a new country, city, or cultural landmark. This is how you expose your children to this great big beautiful world in a safer manner. René Descartes, a French philosopher, mathematician, and scientist, once said, "Cognito ergo sum," which translated means, I think, therefore I am. So to truly be something in this world, to truly be a human, you must think. Thank you.